You step out of a sleek parking garage in Gangnam. Your hands grip the leather-wrapped steering wheel of a brand-new, imported German sedan. The interior still carries that crisp showroom scent. Your phone buzzes on the dashboard with a notification from your banking app. You glance down at the red light. Your monthly car lease payment was just deducted, taking more than 60% of your monthly salary. You gently press the Eco Mode button and turn off the air conditioning to save fuel. That surreal contrast is not an isolated mistake. In South Korea, sociologists and financial analysts have a specific name for it. They call it Ka-Pooeo, or carpoor. It refers to a rapidly expanding demographic of young adults in their 20s and 30s who sacrifice basic living comforts, proper nutrition, and long-term financial security just to drive a high-end luxury vehicle. To an outside observer, spending 2/3 of your paycheck on a depreciating piece of metal looks like pure economic insanity. Why would anyone willingly choose financial strangulation for a car badge? The answer is far more unsettling than simple vanity. It is a calculated, desperate response to a society where status is deeply audited. Housing is mathematically impossible, and looking broke is considered a social failure. According to data from the Korea Automobile Importers and Distributors Association, young buyers in their 20s and 30s accounted for nearly 30% of all imported luxury car purchases in recent years. At the same time, reports from Statistics Korea highlight a stark reality. Average household debt for adults under 35 has climbed dramatically, driven heavily by personal loans, credit lines, and aggressive car financing agreements. Why are young workers taking on high-interest financial leverage for a vehicle? To understand this, we have to examine what economists call positional goods. The concept was pioneered by economist Fred Hirsch in his landmark work, Social Limits to Growth. A positional good is an asset whose value derives almost entirely from its exclusivity and how it ranks you against your peers. In an ideal economy, people buy goods for their functional utility. A car gets you from point A to point B, but in a hyper-dense, status-conscious society, functional utility is only a fraction of the equation. So let's walk through a month in the life of a 27-year-old. Entry-level corporate employee in Seoul. You earn roughly 2.5 million won a month after taxes. That is a respectable starting salary. You work long hours in a glass tower, arriving early and leaving late. You spend 40% of your income on a small studio apartment or a modest deposit arrangement. You spend another chunk on daily meals, subway fares, and basic survival. At the end of the month, you have a modest sum left over. If you save every single one of that remaining money, how long will it take you to buy an apartment in Seoul? According to housing market reports from the KB Financial Group, the price-to-income ratio for Seoul real estate has reached historic highs. It would take an average worker over 20 years of saving 100% of their income just to afford a standard apartment. When homeownership becomes mathematically unachievable, the traditional incentive structure of personal finance completely breaks down. If saving for a home feels utterly pointless, what happens to your relationship with money? Your financial horizon shrinks. Long-term wealth creation gives way to immediate, visible status signaling. Sociologist Thorstein Veblen captured this dynamic in his famous theory of conspicuous consumption. Veblen observed that in large, crowded urban centers, individuals no longer know their neighbors personally. In a traditional small village, everyone knows your family history, your character, and your true wealth. But in a sprawling metropolis of 10 million people, strangers judge your social standing instantly based on visible surface cues. What is the most visible cue you can bring into the public sphere? Your apartment stays hidden behind locked doors. Your bank account balance is invisible to the people you meet. Your investments exist only as digital numbers on a screen. But your vehicle is a rolling billboard of your economic standing. When you pull up to a valet at a restaurant, when you drop off a date, or when you park at a weekend gathering, your car communicates your perceived rank in seconds. In South Korean corporate and social culture, this signaling carries immense weight. Driving an older domestic compact car can quietly signal that you are struggling, stagnating, or falling behind. Driving a high-end imported sedan signals that you belong to the upwardly mobile class, even if your bank account is completely empty. Financial institutions and auto dealerships understand this psychological vulnerability perfectly. They have engineered flexible financial products specifically designed to exploit it. High residual value leases and long-term installment plans allow young buyers to drive a 70 million won vehicle for a surprisingly low upfront payment. On paper, the monthly fee seems manageable. The dealership salesman assures you that you can easily afford the payments on your current salary. What they leave out of the calculation is the hidden cost structure. Insurance premiums for young drivers on imported luxury vehicles are astronomical. Scheduled maintenance, specialized synthetic oils, and replacement parts for foreign vehicles carry massive markups in East Asia. A single, unexpected brake pad replacement or tire change can wipe out an entire month's remaining cash flow. What happens when the financial friction begins to bite? You adapt by shrinking every other aspect of your life. You skip lunches with colleagues or quietly eat cheap convenience store meals alone. You decline social invitations that require spending cash. You cut back on health insurance, routine medical checkups, and personal development. The car becomes a golden cage. You look successful on the outside, while privately enduring constant financial anxiety every single day. Here is the counterintuitive twist that behavioral economists often point out. In a hyper-competitive social ecosystem, spending money on a luxury car is not seen by the individual as wasteful consumption. It is perceived as a necessary professional investment. In many client-facing industries, tech startups, real estate agencies, and corporate sales roles, personal appearance and visible signals of success directly influence business trust. Clients and business partners often make split-second decisions about your competence based on your external presentation. If you appear prosperous, people assume you are capable, connected, and successful. Going into debt to maintain that appearance feels like paying a required tax to remain competitive in the market. Saving money privately offers zero social utility. Going into debt for a visible asset offers immediate, tangible social capital. When the social cost of looking poor exceeds the financial cost of going into debt, young people will choose debt every single time. This psychological pressure is not unique to South Korea. It is a magnified window into the global Gen Z and millennial financial experience across major cities worldwide, from Los Angeles and Toronto to London and Sydney. Young adults face the exact same structural mismatch. Skyrocketing housing costs, stagnant real wages, and endless social media feeds create a constant baseline of financial alienation. When traditional milestones like buying a home or starting a family feel impossibly distant, young people everywhere turn to micro-luxuries, high-end electronics, designer apparel, and lease-financed luxury vehicles. It is what psychologists call cope spending or identity defense. When the macro future feels broken, you compensate by controlling the micro present. You buy the symbol of success because the substance of success has been priced out of reach. You step back into that sleek parking garage in Gangnam. Your hands grip the leather steering wheel. The interior still carries that crisp showroom scent. You turn the key, adjust your mirror, and pull out into the evening traffic of Seoul. You know that beneath the polished chrome and smooth engine, the weight of the monthly lease sits heavily on your shoulders. You are driving one of the finest machines on the road while quietly praying that nothing breaks. For 99% of human history, Wealth was measured by what you owned and kept. Today, in a world driven by social proof and unreachable goals, wealth is often measured by what you are willing to risk looking like you own. You glance at your reflection in the rearview mirror. You check your bank account at the red light. And as the light turns green, you drive forward, looking entirely prosperous and feeling completely broke.